ho, ho! Hey guys, welcome to Dog Talk. This is our holiday show for 2020. We are going to be going out with a bang this season. Tonight's episode is going to be really just talking about things that we need to expect for the winter here. You know, what kind of changes and adjustments that we need to do. What are some of the things that we have to evaluate in all of our dogs' needs, training, equipment, and so much more. So as always, we're going to just let you know, I'm very grateful for everybody for tuning into our show, being a part of the Blue Line Canine family and Dog Talk episodes here. And like I always say, I always start off every episode saying thank you to every single person that's a part of the team, every client, every person has been there throughout the years. And it just means the world every week to know that you guys are still tuning in and allowing the growth of Blue Line Canine training and the knowledge to everybody out there with their dogs. So like always, again, I'm just going to let everybody know that you can always make comments in any one of the platforms that you're watching on. It'll come live on our stream. We'll be able to answer any of your questions. But we want to talk about tonight's episode is going to be cold weather fun and some of the things that we have to look at that cause some of the issues that we typically have. One of which being this: if it's cold outside, your dogs still need to go outside. This is something really important to take into consideration. It doesn't matter that if it's snowing, if it's not snowing, if it's just windy, if it's anything, you really need to remember your dogs still need to go outside and play. Now, what does that really mean in dog training? Well, I always tell people is this: when your dog has habits of going for a walk every day and you decide, well, I don't want to go for a walk because it's raining, it's snowing, it's sleeting, it's this, it's that, you're disrupting the normal flow, which means you're going to have a reaction because your dog might not realize that the weather is the way it is. And you're going to have to let them see how that works out in their favor, right? So for example, it's snowing outside, they're still going to enjoy it. There's not many dogs that don't like the cold weather. But there's going to be a major exception to this. For example, if you decide to have a husky in the state of Florida, okay, this was brought up a little while ago. In the state of Florida, your dog's going to get acclimated to the Floridian weather. And that means when you bring your dog back up here, they're going to have to be reacclimated to our weather. Now, this comes up to a really big thing that I see every year on Facebook, where the little posts that say, if you're cold, they're cold. We're going to have to put a really big stop to that. That is not a true or accurate statement. If you're cold, you're cold. That's how it works. I cannot tell the temperature of somebody else without a thermostat, a thermometer, or something of the sort. I am right now overheating because this is a very warm outfit, but I guarantee you guys are cold and or warm or comfortable in your temperatures. So you cannot sit there and have the normal saying of I'm cold, they're cold. It doesn't work that way. German Shepherds, thick coats. Huskies, thick coats. Labs, thick coats. These dogs are bred and trained and designed to be in cold weather. You can't look at them and say, well, if I'm cold, they're cold. They have winter coats on all year round. It's more of if I'm hot, they're extremely hot. I think if anything, that's the way you got to think about it. It's the summertime that you really have to take into consideration your dog's higher care, air condition, more water, cooler temperatures, the grounds. In the wintertime, your dog is going to typically become way more active because the temperature is more suiting for them. They're going to enjoy the colder weather. My dogs absolutely love the cold weather. The more snow, ice, they love it. They don't want to come back in the house. They love it out there. So this is the kind of little things that you want to take into consideration. If you have a terrier dog, a smaller haired, so for example, Dobermans, Jack Russells, Greyhounds, these are dogs that are typically not going to truly enjoy the cold weather. These are dogs that you're going to have to get some products for, such as jackets, booties, and so many different avenues. So we have a couple of people in today working with me that are going to help me present some of these items to you, and that we're going to be able to show you and give you some tips and tricks on this. One of the neat things is that a lot of dogs that spend a lot of times in-house, such as your Dachshunds and things like that, when they go outside and you put them in the snow, they're really not comfortable. So one of the tricks that I normally suggest to people that have small dogs that love going to the bathroom on the normal in the grass area is you take a piece of wood and you put it outside So this is a really good tactic. So before snow comes, you put the piece of wood outside wherever you want them to go to the bathroom. And that way, when the snow comes, you can brush off the snow off the wood. You can lift the wood up. It would allow the dog to have direct access to the lawn. This way, the dog is able to use their nose. They can still smell odors. And on top of everything else, it's the way for them to literally go to the bathroom and be comfortable, especially those smaller dogs. Remember, they're so close to the ground. So if there's 6 inches of snow, they're going to be dragging your undercarriage all through that snow. That's going to be really bringing their temperature down. So you want to make sure that you create those alleyways. Now, one of the tips that came in from our staff here is creating snow mazes. So it's a neat little thing that you can do where you can make a little snow maze when on snowy days, and you can hide toys and treats in the snow. So the odor is going to be really strong in the snow, but it allows them to really use their nose and find it. And it's a very playful way to allow the dog to enjoy these kinds of things. So this is a great way of using the weather to your advantage because, again, you're allowing your dog mental and physical stimulant the entire time. So let's get into a few things before we get into all the cruddy details, right? So we have boots. We want to go over. So these are rough wear booties. All right. Now, from what I've heard from Savannah, what is the style? So this is called the Grip Tech Rough Wear Booty. She has, and this is it still the same thing? And then this one's the Summit Trek from Rough Wear as well. You can see there's nice grip on the bottom. And what's really nice about these that I'm learning that Savannah just gave me a quick lesson on. I've never used dog booty, so I can't tell you that I have any experience with these. But like anything else, any equipment that you are training your dog on, you're going to have to take the time to desensitize them to the equipment. Don't think, it's snowing, let me go put booties on them, or it's really hot out, let me go put booties on them and call it a day. You have to take the time to train your dog to be comfortable in this because you are taking away a natural point for them. They use their paws for comfort, for feeling. By putting the booties on them, they don't realize that you're designing something for protection. You have to teach them that it's for protection and get them comfortable. But a few things that Savannah pointed out to me that I thought was really interesting was in comparison to the two booties. So let me move my microphone here. It's in the way. So these are the two booties. You'll notice one has the longer like little sock notion on it and the other one does not. So with that being said, the big thing that she pointed out with this one in particular is that it doesn't have the little sock rim. So when she puts this on her dog, the dew claw tends to pop out and can cause a little discomfort, irritation around the dew claw. So she recommends, this is the Summit one, right? So she recommends the Summit one. So then this way, the little sock part actually covers the dew claw. Okay. And by covering the dew claw, it won't have any irritation or anything like that, right? So it's not going to move around. It's going to really encase the entire foot, really actually hurt your dog's hand if you really want to break it down. But yeah, it's going to encase it. It's going to prevent the dew claw from irritation. You can see it and keep the temperatures in. Really nice. It is actually a really nice product. I mean, I'm just feeling it up right now, and that's probably not the best phrase, but yeah, I'm doing it. And it's a really neat product. And a few things that I really like about this product in particular is that they have a real thin mesh on the top, right? You can see it there. And what's nice about it does two things. So this is going to be a product that you use all year round. So in the wintertime, most people don't realize this, but dogs absorb in their paws. Okay. So walking them around on like water and things, it actually is a cooling thing in the summertime. But in the wintertime, when people are throwing salt in the roads, salt on sidewalks to prevent icing, that is poisonous to your dog. So you have to take into consideration if you're walking on the sidewalk after a snowstorm, or if you're taking your dog and you're like, oh, I'm going to walk on the roads, it's easier so I don't slip. The Department of Public Works and stuff like that, they're throwing what they call pre-treatments down. They're throwing salt down on the roads to prevent cars from sliding and melting ice. The problem with that is for your dog is you're literally creating poison. So that's something to take into consideration, is that you're poisoning the dog. So what's nice about these in particular, okay, is that it's going to keep your dog from absorbing any of this because it's got a nice little grip at the bottom. It's going to prevent any absorption points. But now in the summertime, right, that same blacktop that you have to take into consideration, okay, that same blacktop that now doesn't have the salt on it, but is now heating up. So in the middle of July, the sun's beating down on it. And again, most blacktop has like an oil base into it that can create a poison again, or it can burn their paws. So you have You have your rubber matting that's going to keep them. It's going to give them grip. They're going to feel good and comfortable about it. And my favorite part is, again, they're aerated, so the dog isn't overheating in it. So that's just something to take into consideration wearing your booties. So again, I'm just going to let everybody know this is Ruffwear, Ruffwear. So if you want to check them out, it's Ruffwear, Ruffwear. And it's the Summit brand is the one that's recommended by Savannah, right? So, is the measuring able on the? They have a graph on their website and it tells you how. You just do the diameter. Okay, so on their website, if you go to the website of Ruffwear, it's going to give you a measurement, tell you how to measure your dog's paw. And they have a couple of different options, or a few different options, different coloring. So you have a lot of things that you can check out on Ruffwear. So that's a really good option if you guys are looking for something to protect your dog's paws in the wintertime. The next product we have is Doggles. These brand is called Rex-Specs, right? So, oh man, I'm really pimping it out now. You can't even see me. So this is a great little product. Woo, there goes the microphone. So this is a good product as well. Typically utilized with the windy days. But I will say personally, I have used these. It does take a little bit to get the dogs desensitized to it. Dogs are going to be very protective of their eyes and face. They don't just want anything around that area. So again, just like we talked about with the booties, you're going to have to desensitize them to it. Is there any other major elements that besides just protecting the eyes with the wind and things like that?
Good because even though it's wintertime, UV still impacts us every single day.
Okay. So UV. So this one, I know the guys listen to the podcast style. You can't see it. This one actually has a like a sunglass effect. So it's going to protect your dog's eyes from UV lights, which is actually really good in the wintertime because a lot of UV lights is reflective of the snow and the moist and the water that's on the blacktops and things like that. So you actually get brighter lights in the wintertime when you have the reflection points. So just something else to think about. And is what is these? Where the brand is? Rex-Specs. Rex-Specs. You can check those out.
They're also really good during the snow for like debris gain in their eyes.
So wintertime playing, it protects their eyes from debris, things like that. So she's also letting me know you can switch the lenses out. I would say you can find out all the details about them from Rex-Specs. You can check those out. I know dogs that love to stick their head out the window and people that allow their dogs to do this. I would highly recommend this product to them for that because of the fact that you really don't know what's flying in the air when you're driving down the road. If you're not the person but you leave the windows open, you still might want to consider them again because things are flying in your windows. You just might not know about it at that point in time. All right, so now we got past a couple of the products that you might be interested in. Another one is some jackets that I don't have any samples of in my office right now, but if you are looking for some jackets, you really want to make sure you get the belly wraps. I find it to be a very important feature when you're thinking of your dog's jackets, because again, covering the belly is a major absorption point for the dog. So you really want to make sure that that's something that you are considering when you are doing that kind of stuff, is getting the right jacket to do. All right, so the next we're going to go down my list here. So some winter care. Short-haired dogs, typically you'll start to see them starting to feel really chilly around 45 degrees. We have some notes here. Small dogs, elderly dogs, you really want to keep them at really short outings, especially when you hit the temperatures between 32 to 45 degrees. Small dogs, it takes a lot longer. It's a lot harder for them to keep their temperatures up. Elderly dogs, you got to think about they're dealing with our arthritic issues, the older bones. Once again, their hearts are going to be working harder to keep the things up. So take into consideration your dog, how long they're outside, and really think about that kind of stuff. Okay. All right. So Savannah added a part for you guys to think about, another product. It's called Paw Balm, PAWBALM, Paw Balm. And this helps basically the cracked paws from the wintertime when they're, essentially drying out like our lips. So just think of it like you're using your lip balm or your chapstick type of thing. It's a great product for there. I don't use this in particular one. I have a different brand, but lip balm, or Paw Balm in this case, PAWBALM, and it's going to help to keep the moisture in there and keep them from cracking and hurting. Just like our lips, when you think about it, when they're getting chapped up, they're hurting. Just think about the dog's paws is the same. The next, when you think of older dogs, now this one is sort of important because a lot of people have their dogs and they've had them for years. So this is something that I think is really important to think about is your older dogs with bad joints. You want to make sure that you have the proper bedding for them, especially in the wintertime to allow them to relax. I typically recommend therapeutic cots, so you can look into ones that aerate, so it keeps the smells down. You can look at 4 Legs for Pets, Kuranda. Another one is you can also get like the therapeutic ones that are extremely padded, but you got to remember that's going to keep their temperature up. If they're like the what is that, memory foam style, you have to take that one into consideration. The other nice thing about it that you have to look at would be is trying to prevent them from doing a lot of load bearing, especially in the wintertime. If they have bad joints, if you see them walking really slow, when you bring them in, you might want to massage their joints. Really just focus in on giving, extreme petting in that area. You want to massage their joints, loosen them up, warm them up through the friction, not necessarily through like a heater or something like that. Because again, you're not trying to warm their entire body up from the outside, but you are trying to warm their joints to loosen them up. A good product to use in the wintertime would be a Nupro, which is a food supplement that would also help with the joint supplement in those things. So, we can see there's a lot of things to take into consideration in the wintertime as we talk about the products. We talked about looking into the piece of wood on the floor to allow the dogs to have some grass area during that time frame. Another big one would be, when we think about this kind of stuff, is how do you play the games? And we talked about making mazes. You can hide their toys. You can play with their treats. But one of the big things that we always push is making sure you take the time to still play with your dog. Yes, the weather is not our favorite. Yes, it was Maryland and it was, 70 something degrees the other day and we were all ready to go to the beach in the middle of December, but it's Maryland and the winter changes within a blink of an eye, just like anything else happens in this state. If you're not in our state, I'm curious about your weather too. So feel free to throw a comment, a question up. But again, keep your activities where you need them to be, and just take into consideration, where your dog is naturally from and what they really enjoy. Because if your dog is, a heavy haired dog, they're really going to like the cold temperatures. So put your jacket on, get outside and play with them. It's what makes them happy. It's really enjoyable. Sometimes in the summertime, they really don't have the opportunity to push themselves because of the heat. It's the opposite. You're good and comfortable, but they're not on the good and comfortable. And in the wintertime, it's the reverse. So, throw on some Carhartts, get out there, get down and dirty. Yes, it's muddy. Yes, it's cold, but get out there. Your dogs are going to love it. It's the wintertime, and we really want to go out there and enjoy those things. So I'm going to go through my list here. And while I'm going through my list of little things to go over, if you guys have any questions, thoughts, concerns, comments, please feel free to throw them in to our comment section here. We always love your feedback. We love that you guys are enjoying the show. So I'm trying to think right off the top of my head, moving to daily activities, causes with your joints. A big one, if you have older dogs, like I said, we recommend the Nupro product. It's a supplement. They have a joint supplement directly. The wintertime, getting into beds. So we talked about the 4 Legs for Pets, Kuranda, like those cot. It's a cot style, allows aeration, allows the dogs to relax. It also massages the joints, it allows them to separate a little bit, creating relief. So that's a really good one. The foam, the memory foam ones, I feel it really does. It's really good for them to lay on for a while, but it really does overheat the dog. Every person I know that has had them, the dogs they lay on them for a good bit, but then they hang off halfway, or they tend not to use them a whole lot. And it's because they're overheating. If you have a one of those therapeutic beds, I would love to hear from you and let me know if there's any differences in that, because, this could be my experience. It doesn't mean it's the perfect experience, if that makes sense. And that's sort of where we're looking for. Oh, this is a great one. Yeah. Oh, so if you guys know the place command, so if you trained with Blue Line Canine, and most dog trainers today are teaching the place command, we had a great recommendation today from our trainer Savannah, which is have your dog place on the towel. I even said that way wrong. Have your dog place on the towel, And this way, when they come in from outside being all muddy and wet, you can have them place, and you can go ahead and take that moment in time to wipe their feet, make sure they're dry, make sure they're all good to go. That's a very important thing to think about, is making sure that's going on, right? So you're doing a double whammy, right? You are teaching your dog at that moment in time. You're taking advantage of a training. You are reinforcing your command. And on top of that, you're able to take that moment to clean your house and make sure your house to prevent the mud and the dirt, which is always frustrating when you have them running around. Another one you have here, what is this? Wear a scarf?
Oh, it's called a snood.
Okay, so she's recommending another product. I've never heard of this one. So if you are listening and watching, this one is going to have to be Googled. We don't have it here, and I've never heard of it, but it's called a snood, S-N-O-O-D, snood, which is a hoodie scarf that goes over your dog's ear and neck. And it's good for dogs with long ears or dogs with short fur that get cold easily. Okay, so I have no way of commenting on this one. So this one's going to be, okay, just so you guys know, I know you can't see her right now, but instead of her explaining how it works or why it's beneficial, she is just this. She tried to Vogue. I don't know. So if you were old like me, I guess you know what voguing is, and that's what she was just essentially. She was voguing, trying to describe what a snood is. So it's a hoodie. It's a hoodie for dogs.
Like Cocker Spaniels with really long ears can get like snow all up in their ears, so the snood helps prevent snow from being all clumpy in their ears and worse.
Okay, so what she's recommending is a great idea. Okay, now it makes a little bit of sense. So buying the snood, which makes really sense for dogs like Cocker Spaniels, the dogs with the longer, droopier ears that are going to be getting like almost like icicles in their hair and things like that. This would prevent that, and it'll keep their ears warmer and keep them warmer and keeps them healthier and safe. Okay, now you're making sense. When she was voguing, I was not tracking, so I was not understanding what the voguing part was. But now that we have that, we're good to go. So, and the shuffle mat, which is again the Snow Maze treats, and this is a really good thing. Like, I guess the hardest thing I can really talk about, and I'm going to probably end the show on this one, is we've been coming across this a lot lately between COVID, winter, people going crazy with the holidays, trying to get all their shopping in and everything of the sort. Listen, it is very important to create balance. All right. So we talk about the yin yang. For every positive, there's a negative. For every good, there is a bad. There always has to be balance, right? There's the light side of the force. There's the dark side of the force. There's Darth Vader, and then there's Luke Skywalker. I mean, you got to go across the thing. Don't laugh. It's true stuff. All right. This is very important information to think about. There's always going to be the yin yang, equal darkness, the equal light. When you think of ourselves, we tend not to realize how important it is to match our mental stimulation to our physical stimulation. If you have an occupation that does a lot of mental stimulation, you're on a computer all day and you're not doing a whole lot of physical activity, you wear your mental self out, but not physically. And then you tend to either gain weight, you become grumpier, you become more stressed. And then you can start going to the gym, and that brings balance to you because now you're wearing your physical aspect as well as your mental aspect. It's bringing that together. Taking your dog for the same walk every day, yes, it lets them go to the bathroom. And at first, when you first started that walk, it was a great exercise for your dog because they were smelling something new. They were learning new territory. They were doing so much. But that walk has now become habitual. And the more habitual it becomes, the less mental stimulation it becomes. So you might be working them physically, but you're not working them mentally. You need to create balance, especially in the wintertime. You take them outside, they're going to wrestle around in the snow, add the treat, add the game, go out there. One of my favorite things to do in the snow especially is I make a ton of snowballs and I play fetch with the snowballs. So it really messes with their head a little bit and gets them really thinking because obviously they don't get the ball, right? Because the second they bite it or they try to go for it, or if it hits the snow before they get it, it's gone. It disappeared on them. It's a lot of fun. And then you can reward them with the actual ball at the end and play the game. So it's a lot of good ways that you can enjoy your dog. You can have some fun with them and create really phenomenal memories with your pet that's unlike anything else, especially in the wintertime when it's that opportunity for you to take the next step. So remember, to end and stop a lot of stresses in our dogs, unnecessary problems, you have to think outside your box and think that mental, physical stimulation has to become one. You have to create balance. Don't just don't hand your dog a treat, make them earn it. Make them think about it, make them really figure out what you're doing. But if you hold a treat in front of a dog's face, they're going to give you a command. They will. If you hold a treat above their head, they're going to put their butt down, even if you don't say sit. If you train your dog 5 commands in a row and you hold the treat, they're going to do those 5 commands in a row. Mix them up. One of my favorite things to do is to be consistently inconsistent to create consistency. It's something I preach all the time. Being consistently inconsistent to create consistency, which means the way you teach must be consistent. But in order to teach it consistently, you have to change the process of doing it. So that is the key here. Don't always go to sit to down. Sometimes you have to go down to sit. Maybe you do a stand. Maybe do a spin to spin. Who knows? Change it up. We might not have enough time. We might not be able to get to Bed Bath & Beyond. Who knows? So much to do. So much to do. But we have to enjoy our dogs, enjoy this stuff. And remember, this holiday season, just really take that time. Give them some love. We're ending 2020 here real soon. And I want to wish you guys all merry and happy holidays. Just go and enjoy them. Merry Christmas. And we'll see you guys next week.